Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to query an API that supports pagination from your Angular application. I'm going to show you how to dynamically populate a table as well as cards using Angular material. So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and get into it. I have a search bar, I have a toggle button for table and cards, and then I have my result set as well as pagination controls here. So let's go ahead and test it out. I can do a search for Angular, and then I can see if I use the pagination, I'm actually querying different pages from the API. Let's try a different search, Java. And then I can see that if I toggle between table and cards, I have the same results, just in card form. So let's take a look at the API. Let's use Postman to actually see what the API is providing us. So I'm querying the GitHub API right here. This is the URL. And then I'm specifying the parameters Q for query, and then what page I want, and then the items per page. Okay, so if I do a query for Java with page 0 and one item per page, you'll see that I get an object that describes the search with the total count, and then you can see I have a list of items matching my query. And then since I only have one result, you can see that our array only has one object in it. And I can see that the top result is the algorithm/Java. And you can see that in my application, I get the same result here. Now let's bump up the per page to 5 and then hit send again. And you can see that we're going to have essentially the same page here. So my next result, you can see, is this item right here. So this is where we're getting our API call. Effectively, everything I do here in Postman is replicating what would be done here in Angular. So let's see how we actually build this project. The first thing you'll want to do is replicate our JSON object with models. So the top level model is going to describe the search result. So we're going to have a total count and then an array of items. Okay, so we can have a GitHub search result model, and all we really care about is a total count and then the array of items right here. And these are of type GitHub. So that's how I described this object. So if I look at the GitHub, I can specify the parameters that I'm particularly interested in. So the ID, this value right here, the name, the full name, the HTML URL, so we can see that here, the URL, language, owner. The owner and license are sub-objects, so we can see that here. Here's the owner. And then the license, let's see if we can find that right here. So then I can also create models for those objects as well, owner and license. So now that we have our model set up, we can set up a API service here. Very simple. We're just going to do a GET request. I'm just going to call this method GET for simplicity, and we are returning one GitHub search result object. Remember that object contains an array of the GitHub items. And then we're setting our query parameters just like we do here with Q, page, and per page, and then we send that GET request. Now, of course, my method needs to take in from the UI what that query is, what the page is, and how many items per page. So that's going to be done in our component. So let's hop over to our component, and there's going to be a few things. One, I'm creating the columns for the table dynamically, and then I also have an object or an instance of search result right here. So I'm going to have a method search that is invoked when the search bar is utilized, and that's just going to call that API service, the get method, with the query, page index, and page size. We're going to subscribe to the result and set the result to our data. And then we are also going to set this loading boolean to false when it completes, because that is what is going to drive our loading screen. So let's take a look at the template. So in the template, we're just going to have our search bar here, always visible, and we're going to have our toggle button group here, always visible. And then we have some conditional divs here. So I have, if we are loading, then we're going to show a mat spinner, which is going to show it right in the middle of the remaining screen. Otherwise, if we're not loading, then depending on if we have selected cards or table, for cards, we're going to show this portion here. All I'm doing is setting up a mat card within a for loop, and then we're just going to populate the items within the card, each search result. Otherwise, for the table, we're just going to create that dynamic table and display the results. Now, below the table, we will have a paginator here, and we can control the events from the paginator within our component, and you can see that right here, handle page event. So with the page event, we're just going to update our page index and our page size, and then perform the search again, because we want to get a new result set with the new page information. So let's see that in action again. Let's perform a search. How about image? And you can see the search results here. If I hit next page, then we're going to get the next set of results. Next page, the next set of results. If we can switch to table, we're going to see all of that information in the table. So again, let's go ahead and test it out with Postman just to kind of check ourselves here. Let's do image and search, and you can see we're getting the same results here displayed here. So not really a whole lot of code, pretty simple. Hey guys, if you want to see all the source code, check the link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.